Coming up on the February 2nd edition of Sports Extra, Carolina gave up an 18-point lead against Louisville this weekend. We recap the collapse and see what UNC can do to turn it around against Virginia.
Millions gathered for the big game yesterday, and no, we're not talking about the Puppy Bowl. See how people at one local Chapel Hill restaurant watch the Super Bowl.
And backhand, forehand, it just doesn't matter. Check out how this club is taking Ultimate to the next level. All that and more, Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
It still hurts. It hurts so much. Carolina basketball let a chance of beating a top 10 team on the road just slip through its fingers. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Molly Oak.
And I'm Luis Fernandez. It just looks like it wasn't in the cards for Carolina, but UNC doesn't have very long to think about the loss. The Heels have to take on one of the best teams in the country, UVA, tonight at 7. But before that, I'm sorry, everyone. We're going to have to replay the tragedy at the KFC Yum Center. The Tar Heels dominated the Cardinals early, stifling Louisville's offense and connecting from deep. Carolina built an 18-point lead early in the second half and looked like it was ready to blow the Cards out thanks to the help of Jean-Pierre Togoto. But not so fast, says Montrezl Harrell. He brings the crowd back into it with this monster alley-oop. Oh my goodness, let's watch that again. Oh my gosh, mama, there goes that man. Louisville came all the way back to tie it up, and this Montrezl Harrell miss gave us free basketball. Louisville put the Tar Heels away early in overtime, though, outscoring Carolina 18-8 in the extra period for a 78-68 victory. Not good. Not good at all. Basketball analyst Brett Thompson joins us live in studio. Brett, take it away.
Thanks, Lewis. I'm shocked you didn't get a foul called on you while going over those highlights. The Tar Heels were in foul trouble all game against Louisville, and when you already have two of your best reserves wearing suits on the bench, that leaves you with a thin roster. The foul trouble led to fatigued Heels on the floor, which led to easy baskets for the Cardinals in their comeback. Of course, when you're playing with foul trouble, that can change how you play the game entirely. Carolina's big men had to play passively in the paint, and that led to a large rebounding margin in Louisville's favor. The Tar Heels' biggest strength is their offensive rebounding, and this was just the 5th time this year UNC was outperformed on the offensive glass. When you take away those second chances and give them to the other team, it becomes a lot more difficult to come away with a victory. And speaking of rebounding, the Tar Heels have bounced back strongly following losses this year. Carolina is undefeated after losses this season, winning those games by an average margin of more than 22 points. This will be one of UNC's toughest tests of the season, though, as the Heels take on the ACC's top Virginia Cavaliers. And now, Lewis, the Heels have had that success after losses against some decent opponents. Number 22 UCLA and number 5 Louisville come to mind. But nobody with the defensive prowess of this year's Cavaliers, so it's going to be a tough task for Carolina to keep up that streak of success following failure.
Yeah, men's basketball analyst Brett Thompson live in the studio. It's going to be really tough, Brett, but Carolina fans hope the Heels improve in all of those areas tonight against Virginia.
Well, we have about a little less than 2 hours now until that showdown against the Cavs. Basketball analyst and connoisseur Tate Frazier joins us live from the Dean Dome. Tate, what's the vibe down there? Anxious, nervous, excited?
Well, Molly, we're here at the Dean Dome right now, and I'd say it's palpable, the pressure that's ahead tonight when UNC takes on UVA. This is known as the South's oldest rivalry. It started in 1910 when UNC faced UVA for the first time, and the Wahoos have not fared well in Chapel Hill. They are only 6-65 on the road here, but don't let history play a part in that. They are 9-0 on the road this season, and here's why. The defense. They are the #1 scoring defense in the country with 50.2 points per game that they allow. That's obviously a struggle for UNC tonight. Another reason why, they have held 3 teams to 20 points in a full game. They've done that to Harvard, Rutgers, and of course Georgia Tech earlier this month. And the way that the Heels can face that pack line defense is with penetration, and that comes with Marcus Page. Marcus Page needs to get into the paint and kick it out to his good buddy Nate Britt. Nate Britt has been doing well from behind the three-point line as of late. In the past 11 games, he's hit multiple threes 5 times. He hit 4 threes against Syracuse about a week ago, and that was a big night for Britt. Another 2 names to watch out for the Wahoos also, Justin Anderson, 6th man of the year last year, doing well, and now we'll see if the Wahoos will be the Wahoos. Back to you in the studio, Molly.
Thanks, Tate. Here's hoping the Heels will bring home a W. That was basketball analyst Tate Frazier live from the Dean Dome.
One player we won't be seeing against UVA is freshman guard Joel Berry, who's out with a strained groin. Our Maggie Miller sat down with him to talk about his road to recovery.
It's just really hard because right now I'm coming back and I'm scared to do certain kind of moves because I'm scared to re-injure myself again.
When Berry arrived at Carolina, he expected to be playing tough conference games on the Smith Center floor. Instead, he's confined to Carolina's bench on his road to recovery. Berry initially injured his groin during the team's trip to the Bahamas in November. He was officially listed out of action before the NC State game on January 14th. Since then, Berry says he's been resting, working out, and eating healthy to get back to 100%. And when he's on the sidelines, he's not just sitting there. He's thinking of ways to improve his game.
I just try to just encourage my teammates and try to be there for them when things aren't going right and when things are going right. And I just try to, pay attention to more of the game and just try to learn from the sideline.
Because of this experience, Berry has some advice for injured athletes who are in the same tough position he is.
Just don't rush it and, just try to learn while you're sitting out and just try to find out different ways that, that you can help your teammates and help out anyone on the team.
Although he's making the best out of it, Berry admits it's hard sitting out and being away from his team.
I just feel like a different person. I'm just used to coming in, getting ready with my teammates and then, just having to watch my teammates run out here on the court and then I'm going back in the weight room. I just feel like I don't feel connected to the team and I just want to, have that feeling back again.
Fortunately for Berry, there is light at the end of the tunnel, as he is slated to return to action in the Boston College game. In Chapel Hill, I'm Maggie Miller reporting.
That Boston College game will be this Saturday at 3 in Chestnut Hill. Now, I'm sure Marcus Page is looking forward to having Berry back in the rotation. It'll give Page a chance to get a few more minutes to rest.
Yes, Joel Berry and Theo Pinson have been big injuries for Carolina, but there was another injury earlier this season that really hurt this team. Less on the court and more off it. Our Kylie McCoy joins us now in our satellite studio with more. Kylie?
Molly, Sasha Seymour is another Carolina basketball player to get injured this season. Unfortunately for Seymour, it was a career-ending injury. He tore his ACL in a game against Alabama Birmingham. I talked with Seymour and he said there's nothing he'd rather be doing than playing for Carolina right now. But unfortunately for him, he knows his playing days are over.
He's the senior class president and a Moorhead Scholar, but Carolina basketball player might just be the sweetest title he owns.
I've always dreamed of playing basketball for North Carolina, so to make the team was in and of itself a dream come true.
Seymour played in 6 games as a walk-on for the Tar Heels before tearing his ACL. Seymour's injury marked the end of his Carolina basketball career.
When I tore my ACL and I found out that that dream was essentially over, it was tough. But at the same time, I know that there are a million kids out there who have had the same dream that I've had. There are a million kids that have wanted to play basketball for North Carolina. And so to even have gotten this opportunity in the first place is just such an incredible blessing.
Seymour says his injury won't stop him from setting new goals.
I really like setting goals and accomplishing them, and I really like going after something. And I think this is just another challenge, and it's just another goal. It's just another thing to overcome. And when I think of it like that, it gives me another thing to beat, and I like that a lot.
Whether he's chasing his goals on the court or in the classroom, Seymour has one motto to live by.
I think it's a little bit cliched to say, never keep following your dreams, never give up on that. But that's entirely true. I mean, that's exactly what I did. And in each step in the process, I had this end goal in mind of this is where I wanted to be and this is what I wanted to do. And as long as you keep that in mind, it's entirely possible to do whatever it is that you want to do.
Seymour will be working abroad in Ireland next year as a recipient of the Mitchell Scholarship, and he was only one out of 12 Americans to receive that scholarship.
Kylie, when he's over in Ireland, does he have any plans to continue playing ball?
Yeah, he does actually. When he goes over to Ireland, he told me that he would love to play some pickup basketball while he's there, and he might have an advantage since American basketball is so competitive and not as competitive over in Ireland, so should be fun to watch him as he works and plays over there.
It sounds like he's got some awesome experiences coming up for a guy who's great both on and off the court. That was Kylie McCoy live in our satellite studio. Thanks, Kylie. And women's lacrosse is back in action.
See what happened when the Heels duked it out with James Madison. The Super Bowl is one of the most viewed sporting spectacles in the entire U.S. Many Americans gather to watch each year right here in Chapel Hill at the R&R Grill.
Fans of Seattle, New England, and football fans in general gathered at R&R Grill on East Franklin Street to watch a very dramatic Super Bowl game unfold. Fans were enthralled with the game as seen by this reaction to a Seahawks touchdown. The Seahawks made more response-worthy plays as well, as this fan reacts to a beautiful pass from Russell Wilson to Ricardo Lockett. It would be the Patriots who had the last laugh, as expressed by R&R patron Steve Abraham.
New England has scored a touchdown, if you care.
That touchdown would prove to be the game winner, as a potential go-ahead touchdown throw from Russell Wilson went to a guy in the wrong colored jersey. Some fans were elated, others dejected, and all got to share either joy and sadness with those around them. In Chapel Hill, I'm Paul Beam reporting.
Seahawks fans might never get over the play call at the end of that game. To quote Charles Barkley, it was terrible. Now, if the Super Bowl shows us anything, it's this. Some of the best minds in football miss talent. Tom Brady, a 6th-round draft pick. The hero of the game, defensive back Malcolm Butler, an undrafted free agent. The Heels football coaches hope they do a better job of assessing talent. Wednesday is signing day. Here's an update about how the 2015 class is shaping up. 4-star defensive lineman Jason Strobridge announced this morning that he's flipping his verbal commitment from Kentucky to UNC. That's UNC's 20th verbal commitment and 8th 4-star pledge. The Heels are also waiting to hear from 3-star corner Chris Williamson. Williamson will announce his decision tonight at 10 on Fox Sports South. Williamson also has offers from Florida, Missouri, and Cal. Women's basketball trailed by 8 midway through the second half, but outscored Boston College by 20 from that point on. Stephanie Mavunga led Carolina with 25 points and 14 rebounds. But in the first half, it was all India Bryant, leading the team with 10 points through 20 minutes, just like those two in that fast break right there. Alicia Gray struggled from the field, shooting just 2 of 14, but she made up for it everywhere else, grabbing all those rebounds. She had a career-high 15 boards, and she had 6 dimes, including that sweet pass to Bryant. Carolina pulled away at the end, and the Heels will play at Syracuse Thursday at 7 p.m.
The women's lacrosse team opened its 2015 season with a win against James Madison on Sunday. Molly Hendrick and Brittany Copa each had 2 goals to help the Tar Heels start their season off on the right foot. And number 30, Alex Moore, a sophomore transfer from Southern Cal, led the team in scoring with 4 goals in her Carolina debut. Nothing new there for Moore at USC. She led her team in scoring last year with 35 goals. James Madison was up 7-6 when Carolina went on a 5-goal streak with 3 goals from Moore, and UNC won 13-9. And the men's lacrosse team took on Limestone in a scrimmage on Saturday. A balanced scoring effort with goals like this from attackman Luke Goldstock. And this rebound put back by last year's leading scorer Joey Sankey propelled the Heels ahead. Patrick Kelly jumped on the scoring train with this rocket, ultimately sending Carolina to a dominating victory. The Tar Heels will take on Furman in the season opener next Saturday at noon.
UNC has been the first step in a long and successful career for athletes like Michael Jordan and Mia Hamm. This year, 4 of our men's soccer players have made the jump to the professional stage. Reporter Lucero Cifuentes has the story.
Goal after goal, title after title. The men's soccer team are no strangers to success, and this January, Tar Heels' Andy Craven, Rob Lovejoy, Boyd Okwanu, and Tyler Engel had a lot to celebrate as they made the move to the biggest soccer stage in America, the MLS. Although it is quite an accomplishment to have 4 players drafted from one team, men's soccer coach Carlos Samuano didn't seem too surprised when he heard the news.
They deserve to be drafted. They all earned it. They all worked for it, and you hope for the best when it comes to professional soccer. There's no guarantees, so you show up on draft day, and we had 4 guys drafted. I think that's outstanding.
And despite the change in city, teammates, and coach, star forward Andy Craven radiates positivity about his move to Seattle.
I'm coming out here and just giving it my all. I'm going to work as hard as I can and make the best decision on the ball I can make and try to have an impact.
Craven received national attention last year, gathering titles such as National Player of the Week and Herman Trophy finalist, an award given to the best collegiate soccer player in the nation. As his remaining team members move forward in hopes of winning the national championship, they say they continue to support former Tar Heel players. Junior Robbie George sends the 4 new MLS draftees a special message as they take on a new stage in their soccer career.
You've had a great impact on me, both as a soccer player and as a human being. You made me a better person. And I'm glad I got to know you, and hopefully you guys go out there and fight as hard as you did out here every practice, and you'll be good.
Tar Heel born, Tar Heel bred. These 4 players will always be part of Carolina athletic history. In Chapel Hill, I'm Lucero Cifuentes, reporting.
You can follow the MLS trajectory of these Heels as Craven goes to Seattle Sounders, Lovejoy heads to the Houston Dynamo, Okwanu plays with Real Salt Lake, and Engel joins Toronto FC. The wrestling team couldn't quite take down the Wolfpack,
but the Heels were able to put out the fire against Drexel. It was senior day at Corey Natatorium, where the swimming and diving teams didn't just beat Duke, Carolina blew the Devils out of the water. From start to finish, the Heels commanded the competition, taking first in multiple events. Junior Ann Gosling shaved more than a second off her personal best in the 100-yard breaststroke, celebrating her first-place finish with this priceless reaction. Freshman Phillip Purdue also shined in the water with 2 first-place finishes in the 100-yard medley and a season best in the 50-yard freestyle. On the diving side, freshman Alyssa Dawson took first in the 3-meter, while sophomore Jack Nyquist finished on top in the 1-meter. The Blue Devils won only 2 events on either side, doing little to close the gap. The Tar Heel women topped Duke with a final score of 175 to 133, while the Carolina men won by a score of 176 to 90. And on Saturday, the men fell short against North Carolina State, bringing their record to 5-3 overall. But the Tar Heel women defeated the Wolfpack, improving to 7-1. The women's team has won every dual meet against the Wolfpack since 1982. And next weekend, the Tar Heels will host the Carolina College Invitational at Corey Natatorium.
A UNC track and field thrower is breaking records and reaching national standings just like her parents before her. Kendra Douglas has a story about how this standout athlete is continuing in her family's footsteps.
UNC track and field thrower Sarah Howard comes from a long line of people who like to throw things.
It was always kind of a family thing. My older cousins threw in high school, and I would tag along with my dad as he would coach them.
Howard started throwing at age 11. She has broken a national high school record along with one right here at UNC. And Howard says having to live up to the family legacy doesn't bother her at all.
Always said, there's no pressure for you to be a thrower, and I never really saw it that way. It was always just something that was just part of life.
Head coach and throwing coach Harla Smetters says Howard is one of the most talented kids he has worked with.
She's extremely dedicated, she's extremely focused, and she comes from a strong lineage of throwers, so she understands the event.
An event that's usually difficult for someone of her size, but Howard makes her 5'5" height work to her advantage.
I'm a rotator, so most taller people would have the issue of they gotta go easy out of the back because otherwise they'll be out of the circle, whereas I can pretty much go as hard as I want out of the back.
The junior athlete is ready for more challenges.
And then I also have the goals this summer of trying to make some Canadian teams.
Howard will enter the Canadian national tryouts that start July 2nd. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kendra Douglas reporting.
Howard redshirted her indoor track season this year and will be making her debut for the outdoor season starting in February.
The gymnastics team traveled to NC State this weekend for a quad meet facing West Virginia, William & Mary, and the Wolfpack. UNC finished second. It was a stressful night for freshman Morgan Lane. Finishing second in the all-around competition, she dominated the balance beam event with a 9.875, and Lane also tied for third in floor along with teammate Lexi Capali. Capali took fourth in the all-around competition with an overall score of 38.825, with Haley Watts close behind in fifth place. The Heels will take on William & Mary again Saturday in Chapel Hill.
The Tar Heel wrestling team faced off in a meet Sunday against NC State and Drexel. After jumping out to an 18-7 lead, the Tar Heels lost the final 3 matches against the Wolfpack and ended up on the wrong side of a 22-18 final. Carolina is now 0-2 in the ACC. But the Heels rebounded quickly in their second meet of the day, slaying the Drexel Dragons 22-13.
Burn, baby, burn. It's a disc. Oh, inferno.
We take a closer look at this season's hottest sport.
There's a darker side to Carolina you might not know about. I'm talking about Carolina's club ultimate frisbee team, Dark Side, which is starting its season. Our Seth Pyle has the story.
Here at Carolina, there are a lot of elite varsity sports teams such as basketball, baseball, and soccer. But there's another elite Carolina team that is elite. The Darksiders are ranked number 2 nationally and head into the season with high expectation.
We lost in the national championship game last season, and so we came into this season with very high expectations. Our single goal, overarching goal, is to win a national championship. So we practice, prepare, train throughout the year to try and peak at the national championship tournament in May. And like I said, our goal is to try and win that tournament.
A high ranking and high expectations aren't surprising, considering the past success of the Darksiders and the current level of skill on the team. With a group of experienced newcomers and a multitude of returning players, some of whom Snell says will be playing on the first semi-professional ultimate frisbee team to come to the Triangle area, the Raleigh Flyers, the Darksiders look to have a well-rounded roster. The Darksiders seem to have the pieces in place to win it all this year. Now all that's left is to see if they can actually pull it off. In Chapel Hill, I'm Seth Pyle reporting.
These Dark Side boys hope to use the force this season to bring home a championship.
We leave you with a new feature from 2 of our reporters called Keeping Up with Kyle and Alexis. Today they get an inside look at the crib of the supervisor of morale, Caleb Presley.
Alexis. And we are here at an address that we can't disclose because he's somewhat of a celebrity.
I would say so. He's pretty much a celebrity.
Oh, you're inviting yourself in? Money, sign of wealth. Money. I'm trying to make sure that you guys know. Oh, man. So we have more of those. Sign of wealth. Dude, Jakey.
Pretty good.
You haven't even tried it yet.
I tasted it.
You like it?
I like it.
We all have rooms. It's just mine.
Have a lot of people seen this room?
No? Do what you love. That's a good phrase to live by, I guess.
Do you do what you love? And what's that?
I do, like, literally, it's almost preposterous the amount of things that I do that I love and just completely forget about the things I don't. I wore a jersey of a former Carolina player to like, you know, on the sideline. Right.
So I guess your signature thing.
That's my car, it's my driver, it's all mine. Oh, this whole neighborhood is mine.
That's always fun to get an inside look, I guess, into the house of the players. So let's go back to the Super Bowl really quick, Molly. What was your favorite commercial?
Absolutely, Budweiser all the way. You can't lose with puppies, especially I've got a heart for yellow labs. You just can't lose with it.
I do love puppies. They're probably some of my favorite animals, honestly. But personally, my favorite commercial was the avocados one. You know, avocados from Mexico.
With the little polar bear?
Yeah, that was, oh my gosh, that was so funny. I loved it. It was absolutely great. Let's see, what other good ones were there? There was the one with the app, you know, with Liam Neeson.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Liam Neeson's one of my favorite actors. He's the best. So that's
and speaking of puppies, did you watch the Puppy Bowl at all?
Of course I watched the Puppy Bowl. It was great. It was amazing. Not like the Super Bowl, but great. So that does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
Thanks for watching. Have a good night.